Welcome to a world where nothing is as it seems. A world where the unusual becomes the usual, where the weird becomes the acceptable. Welcome to Tales of the Strange. Today's story is Paying Their Dues by Kate Bowman.
I wasn't expecting that. I mean, when Mrs. G phoned us at the police station and said she was having trouble with her tenants, I wasn't surprised knowing who they were. But I really wasn't expecting that. Well, you don't, do you? Mrs. G owns a number of properties across town, and she's been good enough to rent them out to some of our repeat customers, shall we call them. We've worked with her closely for some time now. We have offenders that need homes when they get out of jail, and she puts them up. Oh, some real tearaway she's taken over the years without so much as a flicker. Oh, the woman's a saint, if you ask me. Not a lot of landlords would take them in, what with their lack of references and tendencies to smash things up. Although for a saint, she is a bit of a racist. Doesn't have the time of day for any minority groups. Give her a name that sounds vaguely foreign and she won't touch them with a barge pole. Maybe it's their age, I don't know, but if they don't look British, they don't get a place. She doesn't want to have their kind, she says. Well, we used to object, but at the end of the day she's helping us out, and most of the ones she's taken in are a hell of a lot more racist than her. Right-wing gang members, most of them. Always give people a second chance, is what she says about them. Well, most of them are on their third or fourth, but there you go. Her houses aren't particularly upmarket, not kept in the best shape, old and a bit on the damp side, but livable. Half of them don't look as though they've been decorated since Victorian times. Ancient wallpaper, ancient furniture. It's like going into a time warp going into one of her terraces. A very green time warp. It's a favourite colour, apparently. I'm not sure what the tenants make of it, but frankly I've never really cared much. They've got a roof over their heads and that's what counts. Well, until the next time they go inside at any rate. So when I got a call from Mrs. G to say she was a bit worried about her tenants in Cedar Road, I really wasn't very keen to go and investigate. The Cedar Road lot should never really have been housed together, you see, because they've all done time for aggravated assault, gang activity, inciting racial hatred. Having them all under one roof was asking for trouble. But unsurprisingly, no one else was willing to take them on, so there you have it. They've been fighting, Mrs. G. Neighbours complaining, I asked her on the phone. No, nothing like that, she said. It's just none of them have paid their rent, and it was due last month. Great. I promised her myself and my colleague would go and look into it, so we set out in the pouring rain to see what was what. There was no answer. We knocked again, still no answer. We called through the letterbox and saw the post piled up on the floor. Something wasn't right. The curtains were tightly closed so we couldn't see in. We decided to call for backup. By the time our colleagues arrived, we were soaked to the skin. We called out one last time and then broke the door down. Silence. The house felt like a sauna. The heating was on full whack. You could practically see the steam rising from our clothes. And there was a smell. And it wasn't the smell of home-cooked breakfast. We found 4 of the bodies in the living room. 1 fetal on the floor, 1 spread-eagled in a chair, and the other 2 sprawled on the sofa. A 5th body was upstairs, draped over the toilet. They'd been there for some time. No obvious signs of forced entry, or any injuries. We sealed off the area and I rang and told Mrs. G that she wouldn't be getting her rent from Cedar Road any time soon. It was toxicology that had to establish cause of death in the end. The results came back today. Arsenic poisoning. When forensics ran tests in the house, it transpired that the green dye in all the furnishings contains small amounts of arsenic. Quite common in Victorian times, apparently. What with the house being damp when the heating was on, the walls and the sofas all steamed, releasing the arsenic into the air. They were basically all gassed to death. Nasty way to go. Now all that's left for me to do is contact Mrs. G and inform her. She'll be devastated, obviously. I mean, how could she have known? When I tried to ring her, it was her daughter that picked up the phone. "Is Mrs. Goldberg there?" I said. I've got some quite distressing news." "No," her daughter said. "She's attending a Holocaust memorial service. Each year she lays a wreath for her father and her sister." I'll call her another time.
You have been listening to Paying Their Dues by Kate Bowman. The policeman was played by Peter Richards. Tales of the Strange is directed by Hugh Novelli and produced by Fluellen Theatre Company.